He said, I wanted to ask you if you would take the time to read this. I'm not asking for a response because it would defeat the purpose. I want to thank you for what you do. I had the opportunity to hear you and your family speak at Funnel Hacking this week. I'm going to sound really fucking cliche and say it was life-changing. The crazy part about this, you have two kinds of people who say life-changing. You have people who say life-changing out of fucking hype, and you have people who say life-changing because there was literally a shift inside the core of who they believe themselves to be. It's not an outside-in motivation game of fucking Red Bull. Hey, man, I drank some Red Bull. Now I'm pumped up about this change that I feel inside. No, this was something bigger. It was something better. It was something better, which was what? It was a shift inside. See, there's a feeling, and we're going to keep reading what Toby went through, was the same thing I went through, was a shift inside. It was an ability to feel the unlocking from within. This game that shifts in which this internal voice awakens inside of us. When I say wake up warrior, I'm talking about waking up the divinity inside of yourself. But not like some hippie or some fucking new wave bullshit artist. I'm talking about somebody who actually is a businessman. I'm a fitness man. I'm an athlete. I'm a badass motherfucker, and I know it. And so are you. But the reason I have my power inside of my life doesn't come because I'm blessed. It comes because I choose to create it every day. This is where people get all fired up at me in the religious world. Well, you are disrespectful. That is complete blasphemy. You are downplaying the gift that God has given you in your life. Bullshit. God gave me the life I have in the following. Here is life. What you do with it is on you. What Toby does with his is on him. The challenge of being a man, though, is that how you choose to live also affects your wife. It affects your children. It affects your legacy. It affects the kind of men they marry. It affects the kind of women they marry. It affects the stories that your children have about what a marriage should look like. It affects the reality of your circle of influence. See, this idea that God has blessed you with something you did not earn is insane. The one thing we didn't earn is two things. One, we didn't earn the right to be born. Here we are. I don't know how that shit happened. Here you are, here I am. We are alive. We are breathing in this ball of mud, this school called Earth. The end. I don't argue with on that. I don't argue with it. To all my Christian friends out there who say, well, listen, I'm saved by grace. Okay, I appreciate that. I can accept that. I get that. But if we put you were born to the side, we put you been saved to the side, here's the fucking problem. You still got to live. And just because you've been given the ticket to play, and just because you've received salvation in a different way, this still doesn't mean that you're not a fucking slave. Nothing more insane to me than to talk to somebody who's like talking about how happiness is going to come after this life. Right now, this life is about shit. This life is not legit. This life, I'm simply here to endure the shit, and then when I go this other place, I'll wake up, somebody's going to make me put on a happy face, and my life's going to work out. I'm going to have you consider that here inside this game, this ball of mud called Earth, this school of experience, that you are here to gain wisdom and expansion. That you are to become more than you were before you got here. Not a slothful steward who simply sits back and says, I'm blessed. People who say, I'm blessed, use this as an excuse for people who produce results and create results in their life and take themselves from fat to fit, from divorced to divine, from broke to dominating a business, to kids that don't want to talk to them, to relationships that matter. That shit didn't come because a man just fucking prayed. That shit happened because a man decided to show up. Do the work. Blessings are not miraculous except for the fact that you and I think they're miraculous because we don't understand how they happened. And I was committed to find a way so the men like Toby and myself, we could come in and say, no, 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 no. It is a scientific game. There is a piece inside of it we will never understand, but we are in far more control of our destiny than we want to play it out to be. And so for those who choose to hide behind God and hide behind the conversation of salvation and hide behind the conversation of manna from heaven blessings, your life itself is a blessing every day you breathe. My only question for you is, how are you repaying that gift? You might not be able to earn your salvation, but your liberation is in your hands. That key sits in your hand. And there is no one, not in this place or there, who will tell you anyway, except for this. You have the keys to knock and to open, to ask and receive, to seek and to find. And that does not mean you sit around blind. It requires you to go find the answers to that game.